All right, we are back again. Dynasty Trades in 5. I'm still Clay.
I'm Shane this time.
I am Scott again.
So you're not bearing the lead in terms of who we're going to do this time. Is that even the phrase? Anyway,
Yeah.
we're going Terrace Marshall. Like I said to the guys before the show started, I'm going to call him Terrence 19 times. But yeah, we're going to get started with him. He's gotten like less targets than Michael Carter did in one game, basically, who we just covered on our last show. Yeah, just hasn't panned out. He was taking early, mid, second, super flex drafts. And yeah, where's your head at with him? Buy, sell. Scott, you're up. Hold.
I was a big Terrace Marshall fan coming in just because of his profile. He was so young, hit the production profile, got the draft capital. I know there was the rumors that he slipped due to his foot injury, but he still got drafted in the late second. Supposedly to what we thought was going to be a good offense with a great young offensive coordinator with Joe Brady and a resurgent Sam Darnold, and that everything was going to click. And then after like 3 weeks, you thought it was going to, and then it literally has fallen off a cliff. And you really don't know what it's going to look like going forward. And now they have Cam Newton, so you're not super excited about any receiving option there, despite McCaffrey being out. So anyway, I don't know about you guys, but no one in my leagues where I have him has been knocking on my door going, hey, man, will you sell him? You know, it's just like try to throw him in a deal. Yeah, he's a bust. You know, if you try to get him, of course, I still believe. So he's just one of those players you can't really like do anything with. So you have to examine, I guess, the fact that what's there to like. He's still super young. He's still 21. So there's going to be players coming into this draft that are going to be older and more experienced than him, even though they're a class behind, that people are going to want over him. This comes down to he's going to be a face planner. His value's way down from last year. How low can you get him? And last week he was in a healthy scratch. So that's like, that makes it even worse. Terrible timing for that. You would have hoped that coming out of like their bye week that he would have been able to do something. Maybe we'll see that this week. But yeah, it's tough. I don't think I would even pay any second at this point. I think this is the classic. Can you get a reroll? Can you get another top 10 receiver in next year's class? And is that profile going to be comparable? I think if someone came to me with a top 20 pick, it's an auto accept. And I love Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, there's nothing good to say about Terrace Marshall. I don't care that he's young. It doesn't matter when you don't produce in your rookie season to the level that he hasn't produced. Does not matter. Yeah, he was a healthy scratch last week. The Panthers fired Joe Brady. They're going to be more committed to the run, which doesn't really scream breakout to me for Terrace Marshall in the remaining weeks. Guy's going to end up probably, if he's lucky, 200 receiving yards on the year. If someone wants to trade him to me for a late third, sure, I'll do that.
So Terrace Marshall or Laviska Shenault?
I take Laviska.
I'd take Marshall. I think Marshall. They're both basically busts. I'd rather have Marshall's a better profile, better prospect.
And would you take Kadarius Toney over Terrace Marshall?
Yeah, because I just need Toney to get on the field again for one game, and his hype will explode again, and everyone will remember like, oh wow, he remember the other 2 games he did this when he was healthy. This guy's worth a first round pick, and then I'll trade him immediately.
Yeah, Toney similar to Rondale. It's like I'd almost rather have Toney because I think Shane's perfectly right. Like the one flash game, I think he's got some hype to him.
Marshall's going to need to put together about a half a season to get rid of the stink off of this rookie year.
It could be Bryan Edwards all over again, but without the same steam that Bryan Edwards got. So that's like best case scenario. There was a window to sell Bryan Edwards like in August. And if you didn't do it, you're kicking yourself because now you can't get anything. So
are you, if you're a Terrace Marshall owner, are you almost hoping that they get a big upgrade at QB so that you can then, flip him for, an early second, something along those lines, or a player equivalent to that? That's just what you're hoping. You wouldn't even hold being like, oh yeah, awesome new quarterback. That would be your time to get out.
Well, I think the problem with me is I also have, 9 teams with Terrace Marshall already. So I'm already like at my max of paying anywhere close to what the market price was. So like to acquire more, the way that I would play is I'd be like, okay, now I have to go. I know I'm going to have to sell some at some point. And I think Shane can agree. I just don't have the confidence that anytime in the next 6 months, there's going to be like any sort of sell window for him. Like you're almost better off just being stuck with them, unless there's a sell window to get out at what his market cost is, which isn't very high. Yeah.
Would you rather have Terrace Marshall and let's call it the 206 or Rondale Moore?
I'm taking Rondale Moore.
Man, I mean, we talked about Rondale in the last video too. Like, there's going to be buzz for Rondale. You know what I mean? I don't believe in Rondale, but I think you can argue that there's going to be an opportunity to get that one chip with that side of the deal. So I think I'd still go with that one piece with Rondale. Do add a second to Terrace Marshall to get Hunter Renfroe for the stretch run.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Every you guys keep
what the
saying,
second is, but yeah.
You guys keep saying Terrace Marshall plus. The plus is the only part that I'm even considering being worried about. Like, it's the 204. Like Terrace Marshall is literally just a dude that I'm throwing in, hoping someone goes, "Oh yeah, I remember him. I liked him." That's all I'm hoping that happens. So I'd give him up in 2 seconds for Hunter Renfroe, because you know why? All I'm giving up is 2 seconds.
I mean, would you rather have like Jacoby Myers than Terrace Marshall?
Yes.
Okay, so that Jacoby Myers is like the lowest. I mean, he's basically the new like Sterling Shepard, where you might get 3 wide receiver 40 seasons from him, and you're like, that's a win. But that just speaks to how low Terrace Marshall's value is. If literally Shane said Jacoby Myers within like 2 seconds.